ora!
Kia ora.
Welcome, everybody.
Is that your baby?
That's my baby Malachi. He is trying beetroot this week for the first time, and he couldn't be here in the flesh, but he asked if he could share this pic of him enjoying his beetroot.
Oh.
Hey, look, we're just going to wait for everyone to jump in the call. Wow, it's so incredible to see so many faces. And yeah, thank you for choosing to spend your Thursday evening talking all things mindset. So I just wanted to first say kia ora and welcome. We'll just have some people kind of streaming in over the next 5 minutes. That's okay. I wanted to start with the fact that you're going to need a pen and some paper, or however you like to reflect. If you like to do that on a note, Heather's onto it. Heather's got a pen. If you like to do this on notes, oh, and she's got a paper coming through. Heather, love it. If you haven't got a pen and paper, please grab it. So yes, and we are recording this session as well because there's some people who weren't able to join us that would love to experience this afterwards. So if you're not comfortable with the session being recorded, if you could flick me an email or a direct message on our Seed Facebook page, then I'm more than happy for this to not be published afterwards if you're uncomfortable with that. So I just wanted to set the scene with that. And yeah, I don't know some of you, so I'm going to say kia ora. My name is Gemma, and I'm the co-founder and chief doer of things at Seed Waikato. And we're a youth organisation here in the Waikato region that's been set up to really empower young people to thrive. And what does that mean? Well, it's really about helping us really unlock and explore our potential and understand how we can build more resilience, build more strength, build more community, so that we can be of service to the world, that we can make a difference in the world in the way that we want to, whether that's being a parent or leading an initiative or supporting another initiative, or just, yeah, being part of society. So thank you for prioritizing this time with us. I want to say a massive thank you to Briony, who is facilitating this session. Briony needs no introduction. She's a massive mover and shaker and is an absolutely inspirational woman who is, I want to say, one of New Zealand's most amazing coaches and mentors. Can I be so bold? And yeah, it's a real honor and privilege to have you here, Briony. So thank you for doing this with our community. I just want to say as well, before we jump into it, we're all in this weird time that is lockdown. I just want to acknowledge all of you for your own journey, and that you've made some really big steps in getting to where you are today. So thanks for keeping on showing up, and for really prioritizing your well-being and your future by being part of this. The purpose of today is to bring more awareness to different parts of our lives that are no longer serving us or are holding us back, or aren't in the greatest alignment with who we want to be and how we want to show up in the world. So today we're going to talk about some tools to really support you to make shifts and changes in your life that can make a real difference. Today might not be the moment where things drop, or like you have the aha moment, or you're like, I get it. You might leave this being like, what was that? And that's okay. That's okay as well. It might be that it's a later time for the learnings to come in, or that there just wasn't the right alignment right now. And that's okay too. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Briony, and I will check back in at the end. So yes, over to you, Briony. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim. Thank you for beautiful introduction, very generous and kind. So kia ora everyone, my name is Briony McKenzie, as Jim said. I came from corporate law, 5 years. I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do, but I just had no idea, which is when I went on a really, really big personal development journey to find out more about myself and the areas of life that potentially weren't working so well. I think I'd sort of designed this life that was meant to feel really successful, but I didn't. And so I had to go and dig a bit deeper, which is, what we'll be up to in this workshop today, is really digging in. And the philosophy of the work that I do is that you have all the answers. You have everything you need. We just potentially need to elicit it and do that reflection and get some good conversations going to dig in and dig deeper. I think when we're left to our own devices, we can sometimes only access a certain level of awareness. It's like just this kind of surface level. So that was my journey. That was how I ended up in the personal growth industry and doing coaching specifically, which is, really helping people develop their own insights around themselves, really deepen their self-awareness, get clarity on their purpose, what they want to be doing with their life. And the last 3 years have deliver that through trainings, online workshops, coaching programs, and all other sorts of things, which has been a real amazing journey. And I'm so excited to be here today, acknowledge all of you on your Thursday evening, choosing to show up for yourself. I know there's lots of other things that you could have been doing right now, and I know you maybe had to fight off children or, whānau, or all sorts of things to be here on the Zoom call, get the Wi-Fi working, figure Zoom out. So yeah, acknowledge yourself for taking the time for yourself. It's really easy to say we're too busy, there's so much going on, but to do this work does require a level of commitments to ourselves. So while you're here, video on's awesome if you can. It's all good if you've got lots going on. And yeah, just be present and give yourself this gift. How I like to operate is I love to share concepts and things, some of which you may have heard of, some you may be like, want to ask questions on. I'm definitely not a sit here and talk the whole time kind of vibe. So I would love the unmuting. We'll use a combination of using the chat on the side of Zoom. If you're on your laptop, that'll be really easy to access for you. And it's totally okay if you can't as well, but we'll use some reflection and then the chat on the side. And then we'll do unmute and sharing and stuff. And I do lots of group facilitation. That's one of my favorite parts, is to really see that, wow, we're actually all going through similar things, and we're all experiencing stuff at a human level, which is obviously right now with the current climate is what we're experiencing, is we're all having a collective experience, and whilst everyone's circumstances are different, we are all going through it together. So yeah, excited for this session. Couple of things I think that will work through. The first is a level, just dropping in on, there's this word mindset, the buzzword of mindset. And even when I call myself a mindset coach, it's like, I think people are like, what even is that? But it's really accessing different parts of your mind and the way you're having that internal conversation, because, our inner world creates our outer world. And whilst there's circumstances outside of us, really the world that we experience the most of is our inner world. We have 80,000 thoughts a day. I think 75% of them are the exact same thoughts, which is pretty interesting and amazing fact when you think about it, is that a lot of those are on repeat. So we will look a little bit at the inner dialogue and the conversations that are going on at the moment. And then we will also, pertaining, seeing how we go for time and stuff, have a little dig into this concept called the shadow work. Has anyone experienced shadow work or heard of it before? So I know gauging a little bit of, a few people. Okay, cool. So we'll go there, because, when we're willing to really face off with ourselves, that's where we get the gold, and shadow work's awesome. It's confronting, but it's got a lot of growth to it. So we will start with a little bit of around, I guess, why this work matters and what it makes available. And I was thinking, as I was reflecting on, why do we do this inner work? Why do we develop ourselves. And it's like, the more we develop ourselves, the more influence and impact we can actually make in the world. And, you know, Gandhi said, you know, start with looking inwards and change yourself before you change the world. And it's like, that's really what we're up to. Doing this introspection and this inner work deepens your relationships like nothing else, because once you can really start to gauge your own stuff, you're in a conversation, often it's so easy to blame the world or blame, you know, a partner or a friend or something, but it's actually like, how can we spin it back and look at what's really coming up for us? So we get a depth in our relationships, we get a lot more awareness about ourselves, and, you know, that leads to greater choices that we can make for our life. And with greater levels of choice, we can create different choices, which creates different actions, which means ultimately different results. So I wanted to break that down. I made a little diagram. For those who have got screen share, I will have a couple of times I will do the screen share. So if you can't see a screen, just know that I'll be speaking to that. And if you can, I'll test that now. So I was like, just give me a thumbs up if you can see the slide deck. Yeah. So yeah, I made a very simple diagram, but it was basically like, yeah, we can talk a lot about the self-awareness and stuff. And it's like, but why does that really matter? And it really is because when we have greater awareness about what's happening within ourselves, we can then make different choices, and then we can create different results in our life. And often there's just this notion, until we really dig in and look inwards, there's the concept of we don't know what we don't know. Like, we don't actually know that that's the thing that's impacting us. We think it's something completely different. And I would have told you years ago when I was looking for a career change, I definitely thought it was my job. Like, I really thought it was my law firm. I was like, it's my boss, it's my job, it's everything else. And the more I went inwards, I was like, oh my gosh, it's me. It's that I don't understand myself. It's that I don't necessarily have a connection to my core values. And that was kind of the journey and where it all started. So what we're going to do is have a look at two contexts that we may be living from right now. So, so the context that we're living from determines how we're experiencing life, right? So the inner conversation that's happening actually experiences everything that's happening outside of us. And so when I was thinking about different contexts, where I got to was this concept of the critic and the creator. And it's something I've been sharing with a little bit in some of my programs and stuff. And I thought it'd be really relevant for everyone to have a look at it now, because it's so valuable. So I will screen share this, the critic and creator, and just walk through it. And you can start to see, I can kind of see where I'm doing that and where I'm doing this. So this is thinking about the conversation that is happening within our mind. Everyone knows they've got a voice in their head, right? Like there's like you, and then there's this other conversation that happens. It's like this dialogue. Yeah. So we're thinking about that dialogue. So when we're thinking of the critic is the conversation that's all about doubt. You know, feel free to take a screenshot of that if you want to keep it. It's the conversation that just drives self-doubt. Whereas the creator comes from a really certain place. The critic is the part of us that is driven by fear. And there's a lot of like fear being created in the world. And, you know, more fear invites more fear. Creator actually comes from a place of excitement. We've also seen this in the current climate. There are thought leaders saying this is exciting. This is a whole new world. This is an evolution that's occurring. So, you know, two different perceptions there. Critic criticizes constantly. You're not doing enough. You haven't done anything. Creator is like, you're amazing. You're like, look how far we've come. So a completely different experience. Critic, very constrained, very constricted in the chest, very tight energy. Creator, super expansive and open. It's like, yeah, it's all good. Critic, scarcity. So if I win, someone else loses. If they're winning, I'm losing. Super scarce mindset. Creator, really abundant. There's plenty for all. It's just about redistribution. We can all rise together. Critic, driven from the ego. The ego is a false sense of power. A lot of our constructs are built on what we call ego-centric, which means they're about false sense of perception and power, whereas the soul and a place of service is about authentic, true power. Critic, short-term thinking, just the next steps. Creator, it's all about the long term. Critic tries to control. Creator trusts. Critic is about getting it perfect, which I'm a recovering perfectionist, and the creator is like progress. Everything is progress. Critic is about failing, and creator looks at failure as feedback, and the critic mindset comes from, you know, everything's a problem, and the creator's like, it's all good, it's just a puzzle to solve. So have a look at those two. Grab your journals, and we're going to do a quick reflection. So when you look at the two distinct ways to be living, right, and these two contexts, a lot of people actually resonate that they think about 80 or 90% of their thoughts come from the critic. And where we want to start to redistribute, right, and have actually more of our days in a creator state. Doesn't mean the critic ever just disappears. I definitely still experience plenty of the critic, but it's like we can actually rewire and have more of these creator internal dialogues. But the first step, awareness. So when you think about those words, see if you can circle and select 3 that really resonate for you, like 3 that you're like, yep, that's me and the critic. And then also 3 in the creator that you feel pretty strong in. So I'll put those reflection questions in the chat, but also, and I'll put the slide back up. So the 3 things from the critic that really resonate, that you're like, wow, I spend most of my day in that. And then the 3 from the creator. I'll put that back up. And just, if you have questions, feel free to unmute and just share if anything's not making sense for that. Cool. So the 3 that resonate the most on critic and the 3 on creator. And if you're trying to get it perfect, that's perfectionist. So now thinking about the creator, everyone, I'll just check. Just give me a thumbs up when you're like, yep, got them. Got my 3 for each. All good? Yep, cool, we got a few. Okay, now thinking about next reflection question. In what context does your critic show up the most? So context being the environment and the place that you're like, wow, this is like basically just the critic running the show here. Could be your workplace, could be a specific relationship, could be your business, or potentially even when you do creative expression, whilst you think that's the creator, the little critic might come in and be like, well, that's not good enough, or you haven't actually, no one likes it, or whatever. So thinking about that, where does this actually show up for you the most? What's the impact of it? So really actually let yourself to get present to, when I'm in this mindset, with the critic mindset, in this context of my work, relationship, whatever, how does that actually make me feel? What's the impact of holding on to that? Really like let yourself get present to the actual impacts. It could be, you know, that you feel that there's like self-loathing, that you get really triggered with people around you, like whatever that is for you, just let yourself be present to that. And if you think about that specific area and stuff, what is the belief that's holding this critic mindset in place? What's the actual belief behind it? So for example, you know, I could have something like, you know, failure could be one of my critics, like just so afraid to fail. And the impact of that is, you know, that I never try, that I just feel deflated, that I self-sabotage. And the belief that holds it in place is like, well, if I fail, then that means I'm a failure, and, you know, that would mean people don't love me, or people will judge me. Or what is that actual belief that's driving that mindset? I'll put these questions in the chat as well, so you guys can use them in future. Really quick reflection process to run through. All about bringing awareness to it. Sometimes you're like, wow, I didn't even know that's what was there. How are we going? All good on reflection? Give me a thumbs up. All good. Yeah, cool. Okay. And now coming out the other side, so we've kind of got the awareness of what's actually going on. We're present to the impact, which is really important, because if you don't get the impact, your brain's just like, nah, it's all good. Let's just keep it. Let's keep running this same old system. So we really have to get present to like, what is this actually costing me to hold on to this? What's the belief that's holding it in place? And then dropping down, thinking on the other side of it, what would it actually look like for you to live from a creator mindset in this area of your life? So whatever that area was you chose, and you might have a couple, you can just choose one or do it with both or whatever. What would it actually look like for you to truly live from a creator mindset in this area? Let your brain really dream, really go there. And what actions would you be taking? And how would you be showing up? Think about your energy. You know, for a lot of people, I know a lot of people have amazing creative ventures or businesses and stuff, then the critic gets the best of them. So really think, if you truly were living from a creator mindset, how would you be showing up? And I'll put back, so what would it look like to live from a creator? What actions and how would you be showing up in your energy and your beliefs? And I'll put back the slide here so you guys can also map across as well. Like if you're really clear on what critic ones dominate, have a look at the opposite specifically. Cool. So what we can see, if we go back to this piece, this is the process, right? We went from, okay, there's this awareness, there's this tool, critic and creator. And now that we've looked at this area of life, well, now that we've got awareness, well, we've actually got a different choice we can make. Is it easy? No, definitely not. Like it takes, I should put a little asterisk in there and go, when it goes from choice to actions, there's this whole lot of effort that is involved to do that. Really, like, you've actually got to will yourself to make this new decision now. But we suddenly have this choice that perhaps wasn't actually there before. I'm just going to take a couple of shares. I'd love to hear what's opening up for people in this process. Cool, there's some awesome shares in the chat already. Amazing. I'm 70 to 80% creator. So awesome. Yeah, so some of you might definitely be like, I live most of my life in the creator, which is amazing. And the more awareness we bring, the more you will start to shift over to that mindset, right? The more we can actually catch it. So let's take, it'd be awesome if we could take some shares and just get the conversation flowing. If you really don't want to share, that's cool as well. Oh, someone shared. Where are you? Can you say your name so I can find you? Dun, dun, dun. Was there someone shared?
Hi.
Hi. Where are we?
My name's Tegan.
Hi, Tegan. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I feel like I sit largely in the creative bucket, but I definitely have very, very strong critic when it comes to my career and my financial management area of my life.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay, amazing. So good to get. So there's certain areas of life, and what's awesome is if you've stepped into create a mindset in one area, it means you can actually do it in another area, right? Because it's all about just applying those lessons. So when you were looking at those contexts for you, Tegan, of career or finances, what were the areas of the critic that were like really running that conversation?
I feel like it kind of goes back to doubt and the kind of simple message of not enough, not good enough, or you know, what possibility do I have to actually do this ambitious thing? Like what validity do I have to actually work in this space?
Mhm.
like where is my depth of credentials, I guess.
Mm.
And like like why would people take my message seriously? Because
Mm.
I actually really have strong ambitions to work in the coaching and mentoring space as well.
Amazing.
And I've been trying to develop myself in this space for the last couple of years. But
Uh-huh.
I think I do keep excusing myself from actually really stepping into that space properly.
Mhm. Amazing. Okay. Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing. And so if you were to think of, this conversation of doubt has you wondering, are you really qualified to step into this coaching and mentoring space? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then so the conversation is around having qualifications and certifications. Does anyone else resonate with that conversation of like, where is the piece of paper that says I'm good enough to do this? Yeah. Yeah. And like, honestly, like that is why the traditional education system did so well, because we all went to university and thought this piece of paper was going to make us feel like worthy enough. But then we obviously get the qualification. It's like, oh, okay, actually. So super interesting. And potentially a reframe for you, Tegan, is that, really your experience is actually what's going to be the most crucial thing, especially in the area you just shared that you want to move into, right? Coaching and mentoring.
Yes.
Yeah. So could you see if we could switch focusing on qualifications to your actual journey, your story, and your experience, how that would make a difference?
Yeah. That's the message people keep telling me. But the people that tell me that are people who are close to me. So my critic keeps excusing those people as, oh, they're speaking from love. Why would a stranger actually pay me for this work?
Got it. Okay, cool. So you've got a belief that they're trying to like just be nice and support you, yeah?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And do you have any idea what you'd love to mentor or coach people on?
Authenticity,
Amazing.
self-confidence.
Amazing. Amazing. Are you certain in your mind that you can make a difference to people in that area?
Yes.
All right. That's it. I'm celebrating. Yeah, Jim is dancing. That's it. Right. Tegan, I'd love you to give up the idea that you need to be this, perfect version who's mastered every area of life to, suddenly empower others. And like, I'm not. There's heaps of areas in my life that still don't work. There's a lot that work and a lot that I've done a lot of work on. But, we're both a masterpiece and a work in progress.
Mhm.
So if you can truly just stand in, hey, look, I'm not going to try to be everything, but here's what I could tell you I can do. I can help you with confidence and authenticity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what, keep coming back to that. Don't profess to be everything. Don't even call yourself an expert. Just say, this is the area I know I can help you with.
Mhm.
All right. But now you know what you got to do.
Yeah. Switch those beliefs.
Yes. And switch into certainty, right? And now we got to go test it. We got to go collect some more evidence now to support that belief. If anyone needs support with authenticity or confidence, Tegan is your coach. Awesome. You got what you need? You don't need a qualification to help you do that. I know that you actually have everything you need. Yeah.
So.
Thank you for sharing as well. I'm sure lots of people got from that one. That's a very, very common experience. Am I qualified enough to do this? Who will deem me worthy? It is just standing on your own true power and saying, you know what? I'm certain of what I bring. I'm certain of what I don't bring. That gave me a lot of freedom. Don't count on me for this, but count on me for this. Amazing. Thank you for sharing, Tegan. So cool. Can't wait. Excited to see what you create. Okay. I'm thinking Don said, Briony, can I share a story in the chat? Don? Just going to turn the light on. Oh, Dawn, I think you're muted. I was trying to find your face. Where is he? I think I can. Oh no, I can't unmute you. Sorry. Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I can. Yeah, that might be better.
Yeah, that's it.
So not many people know me, but I work for Mercury, the power company, and we've just got a new chief executive.
Yeah.
And his story. So he's the chief executive of a $6 billion business, and one of the biggest power companies in New Zealand. And he'll say, I failed UE twice. So you don't have to be that, you don't have to have all those papers. It's like, how's he got there? He's trusted himself. He's believed in himself. Yeah.
Awesome. Amazing. I love that. And that's it, right? It really does come down to that relationship with self, which is the whole reason we're all here, is to really look inwards and go, okay, if this is the life I want to create, then how can I deepen that relationship? How can I flex my muscle of certainty for myself? You're right, because there is no qualification. I've done a lot of qualifications. I've got lots of letters behind my name, and it definitely, unfortunately, wasn't the thing that tipped over the edge. So thank you for sharing that, Don. That's awesome. Cool. Have we got any other shares on Critic Creator? Anyone else? Just unmute, jump on. And remember, when you share it, it's always a contribution for everyone, because we definitely have levels of similar things we experience. If your critic's telling you not to share.
Hi, Briony, it's Anne, Terry. How you
Kia
going?
ora.
Kia
Good.
ora. Hey, girl. So I was definitely trying to get it right, like being perfect, and I couldn't decide which of the critic was the worst for me.
Yeah.
So then I was deliberating, and then when you said what you said, and I was like, oh my gosh, and so I just had to choose and then answer the next question. So instead of thinking about it, I just wrote stuff down. And what was interesting, what came up was that I realized that that critic actually had me stuck from the creator that I know myself to be. And I'm so busy being stuck in this critic that goes round and round and round, this conversation, that I miss out on all the stuff that I really want in my life. And it shows up in my work, personal life. Even though I think, I apologise for that, even though I think that I'm actually free of it. So it's this repeat, it's a story that's on repeat. So, and it's great to be reminded of, hey, this is actually who I am as creator, and the critic is actually just there. It doesn't have to control, it doesn't have the power to control.
Totally. And and the truth is, Anne, and I know, like, when you live a big life, if this is for anyone who wants to do anything off the beaten path, a little bit different, or stray from what your family consider to be successful, like any of those conversations, the critic is designed to keep you safe. The critic is all about, hey, let's just stay here. Let's just keep super safe, not be too different, not be too out there, and transparently, the moments that you're about to grow the most, like you're really on your edge of your comfort zone, your critic is going to be so loud. Like the day I resigned from law was like the noisiest my mind has ever been. It was just like so loud, so intense, because it's this part of us that wants to stay small. Right? And it's like, you really, the thing with this is we often, where we collapse it is that we think that that's us. There's, as you can hear, there's parts of us. There's a part of you that is your critic, and it's like that little voice on your shoulder. And then there's parts of you, that the deeper part, right, that you can hear when Anne shares, it's like this part of you that knows that you're a creator. You actually know you're here to live a bigger life. To contribute, to create, to build, and I even know you are creative, that is your expression. And so it's like tuning in and getting more connected to that part of yourself, and less interested what that critic says. We're so clear on the critic. Like we know exactly what that critic says, where it shows up, it's like, how about getting interested in this creator? this part of you that trusts the process, the part of you that, you know, serves from a really abundant place, that, yeah, you know, this completely other part of you. So, and quick question for you and for everyone is like, when are you in your creator? What moments in life or time or relationships or work are you in your creator state?
When I'm contributing and serving others, contributing to and serving others, completely lights me up. Absolutely.
Yep. Beautiful.
And that can be from taking my neighbour some feijoas to making a difference in the team that I manage in their world. Whatever that looks like. And if when I'm doing that stuff, then creator comes out. And it was beautiful to actually see like the contrast between critic and creator and how they directly, and now I'm the self-awareness that I have, it's black and white. Like if I am trusting, I'm not controlling, I'm creating, you know, and I actually really get that, and I can see that actually now.
Awesome.
It's awesome.
Oh, look at that. Look, that's insight right there. Look how quick that is. I love that. I love that. And that's awareness, right? And that's, you know, all this work is really about is new tools. Sometimes people learn one concept or tool and they're like, it's not working. And it's like, okay, let's get another concept. Let's look at it another way. And that's so awesome that that's landed for you. And, you know, for everyone, every day you can actually tune in. Where am I living from right now? You know, and now you've got these distinctions. You'll know when you're in critic. It's a really different energy. And you'll know when you're in creator, and you just feel so abundant and so clear and really, you know, high kind of state and really energized. It's a completely different place, but also at the same time, not a hyper kind of intense energy. It's like this grounded, like, yeah, I know what I'm here. I know what I'm doing, you know? And it's so beautiful, right? So you experience that when you're being of service to others, yeah? Which is just that really soul place where there is no ego. It's not about what you can get. It's about what you can give. I love that. Yeah, amazing. So more of that. Also tune in. That's one insight. Where else does it come up? Where else do you experience it, you know? And then those quick things of, okay, cool. When I'm in my critic, how can I map across and just get into my creative state? You know, you're trying to control something. Perfect. Need to trust.
Yeah.
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 Amazing. I'm excited for you. And what would you do with the creative state? If you were living, let's say 80% in your creator, 20% in your critic, how would life look? What would you be doing?
What would I be doing? I would be creating teams of people who can contribute back to the communities in whatever way that it actually lights them up. You know,
amazing.
What I mean? Like actually being a contribution to your own communities and making a living from that passion and that self-expression and contribution.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, awesome. And your critic would tell you, like for most people, their critic tells them scarcity. No, you can't make money doing that. Or, you know, it tries to control the outcome. It's like, oh, I don't want to trust the process and see what unfolds. So just catch where the critic would get in on that vision, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm so excited to see what teams you create. And Terry, powerful woman.
Thanks, Briony.
Cool. Okay. Anyone else want to share on the critic creator? What's opened up on the insights for you? Yeah. Is it Bianca? Yeah, Bianca. Yeah, and Sarah said, I can so relate. Thanks for sharing. That's it, right? That's the power of doing this in a community. It's just that, you know, when someone shares, you actually can hear something for yourself. You're like, oh, that's me. And I personally just love group stuff versus just private calls is so powerful because you get so much more. You're like, oh, I didn't even think that was me. That's me. Okay, so Bianca. Where is Bianca?
Hello.
Hi, Bianca.
I don't have a video, sorry.
That's all right. No worries.
I just thought I would share something with the group. So I've been on a bit of a journey for the past year and a half myself. I very much have a critic mind, but I'm developing that to go more to the creator side. I'm almost 38, and so for over 25 years, I'd always wanted to be a tour guide, and it was actually something I studied when I was 18. But I didn't grow up in a very supportive environment, and so that critic mind was just always there. And then I kind of put that dream to the side. Now the last year or so I've been kind of working on stuff, and I had actually just decided that I was going to take that leap of faith and start my own tour guiding company.
Oh, wow.
So I had actually resigned, but I was very lucky to get my job back through this crazy time. But that took a lot of my creator side, I would say, to actually, even think about. I mean, I've got a family, I have bills to pay, but I was just like, you know what, I have to try this, because if I don't, I'm always going to wonder what if. So I just wanted to share that, you can get there, but it does take a lot of courage. And I mean, I'm still very much a critic, because I could relate to a lot of those things in that column. But it's actually about changing that mindset, and it does take the time, the practice, but you can get there, and I really believe in that. So yeah, thank you so much for having this, and I've gone aha quite a lot already in the last 45 minutes.
Amazing, Bianca, celebrating you, and yeah, like, so cool. Thank you for sharing. And like, you're right, it takes effort. Like, it's, our default is the critic, our default is small, stay safe. And so for you to have stepped into that creator is huge. And yeah, I can only imagine, and I do know to some degree what it takes. So massive acknowledgement to you. And every time you do that, you do quieten that critic to some degree.
Yes.
So, and you do kind of realize, okay, I'm getting clear on who's actually running the show here, the better actions you take. And so I'm curious for you at the moment, Bianca, obviously there's been this event and everything's unfolded. And I guess, my question is, how are you going to make your next step back into your creator,
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm in a bit of a weird place at the moment. I was supposed to finish 2 weeks ago, and last week I was supposed to be exploring the Bay of Islands with my stepdaughter, school holidays, and also, checking out things for business. But I'm not quite there yet. I'm a little bit lost at the moment, because it was my dream for such a long time, and I finally had the courage to do it. But I'm not giving up. It's still my dream, and it will occur one day. It's just about changing my mindset and trying to work with whatever that might look like for New Zealand moving forward. So if you'd said this a year and a half ago, I would not be talking like this. I would be very negative. So yeah, like I said, it takes it takes time, but I'm not going to give up. So
celebrating you. You can hear it in your voice. I'm like, that's super empowered. That's amazing. And a quote with a coach I was working from, one of my mentors from America, he said, hold the vision, not the circumstances. And I think that right now, that is a really beautiful quote. Like, the circumstances, to some degree, are what they are. And if we resist them, we can end up in critic, right? So if we go from, well, you know what, regardless of what's occurring still right now, I still have that vision, as you can hear in Bianca sharing, it's like, I'm still committed to the vision. Like, the vision is still happening. It's just, I'm not attached to the time or what it even looks like. And isn't that, if we look at the creator, that's like that long-term view, that's trusting the process. That's the fact you're still making progress. Like, so amazing. You're totally standing in creator right now. And it's like really admirable, to be honest, given your circumstances. Just want to acknowledge that. Huge.
Thanks. Actually, thank you for your words. And I was just reading it. I actually I haven't really spoken about it verbally out loud, because I'm in quite a small bubble. And I'm definitely an extrovert. So it's been quite unusual, but I'm actually going to get a little emotional about it. So yeah, I just want to say thank you. I'm probably going to mute myself now, because I feel like I'm going to start crying.
Okay. We just want to let you know we got you and we see you, and it's awesome.
Thank you, Bianca.
Amazing. Cool. Got it. Yeah. All the love. I'm just going to check the chat. Positivity, so infectious, right? That is like next level inspirational. And truly, I actually just want to acknowledge that it is so easy to be positive when like everything's working and you're like, life is working, and like I'm so like, doing the work on myself and it's all working. It is not so easy when everything's in the shit and it's not working so well to stay in that empowered space. So I just, really massive acknowledgement. Like, it's like when life's just throwing stuff at you and you're still standing creators, it moves me, to be honest. So yeah, pretty freaking awesome, the work. Okay. Louise, Louise, do you want to unmute and share? Quick question. How do you know difference always force you into the critic's fate, no matter how resilient versus situation? Louise, do you want me to just answer off there? Do you want to share? Where are you? Trying to find you. Hello.
Hello. I just thought I'd write it because I'd be more concise if I wrote it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we've got a situation that your critic comes up in a lot, and you try to stay really resilient and strong to it. Versus a situation where if you be mindful of this, you can shift yourself.
Yeah, I guess like thinking about situations where the people or the actions involved with it like force you into that critic space, and even if you're really mindful of being aware that you're in that critic space, like those outside factors will like push you towards that, versus a situation where if you're just aware of it, like you can move yourself back to that creative space. Like, how do you tell the difference between a situation where like you're always going to be pushed back versus one that you can like move yourself?
Yeah, got it. Yeah, nice. Okay, good catch. Yeah, I mean, to some degree, our environment cues what's happening within us, right? So if people are you're constantly meeting resistance, or people are saying certain things, and that keeps putting you back in critic. Like, there's elements of like, I was sitting and reflecting on this yesterday, and I guess like I'm never a believer in people staying in situations that don't serve them. Like, I'm like, if seriously you're not your best self and that continues to show up as that way, then perhaps it is an option to move. But what I always say to people is that if the vision is worth it, if that what you're playing for, what you're standing for, what your commitment is worth it, then stay. But know that you will probably need triple the self-care and support to stay in an environment that's not necessarily increasing creator and still stay to make a change, right? And I truly believe there are certain people, in this world that are those change makers. And we've seen it in our history. We've seen the people who, regardless of what the world is doing, they continue to take a stand for what they believe in and come from creator. And it's like, but what I would say is if you're choosing to stay in that place, please get support. Please make sure you are so well supported. Your self-care is so on point. You have all your practices to get back to creator. You do heaps of amazing personal growth so you can kind of work your way through things. That would be I think never stay to prove a point. I really don't believe in egocentric kind of, I'm just going to stay and prove a point. It's like, who wins that, And that was totally my experience. I don't know what I was trying to prove. I was trying to prove I was enough, I think, my whole life. And then when I really got like, I am, I was like, what have I even been doing? So please never stay in a place that doesn't serve you to prove a point. But if there truly is a vision and a commitment you have, then yeah, game on. Create a state, every day, doing your rituals, doing the things that get you into a higher state, higher vibration, better energy in your creator. Does that answer your question, Louise? Hopefully. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. And I know you do some amazing mahi in the world. So like, yeah. You're amazing. So cool. The vision is worth it. We need creators. Another thing I would say, to be honest, right now I'm present to that on this call, whilst the critic gets the best of us all, there's a lot of creators on this call, right? Because you wouldn't be on a call on a Thursday night curiously looking into your own life and assessing yourself if you didn't have an element of creator. And to some degree, the creators trigger the world. You kind of annoy the world sometimes. It's like people just want us to be quiet. People just want us to stop being so positive, especially with Tall Poppy. We all know about that in New Zealand. So just know that when you're in your creative state, you may annoy some people. And your job is not to then dim your light and become all critical and focus on problems like most humans. Your job is to stand in your light, step into your creator, and invite others to join you. That's really the truth of what we have to do as creators. So I want to acknowledge that because I see lots of familiar faces and people here who just do some amazing work in the world. And I'm just like, keep creating, especially right now. I'm like, create, we need more, this is so much. Okay, awesome. Any any other shares that we might do? I'm wondering on time. What are we? 5:51. Jim, thoughts? What do you guys think about the shadow work? We can do a quick 101. How are we feeling? Yeah, quick 101. Okay, let's just go there. Get the high, the ups, the. Okay, so all right, let's go there. Because shadow work's like a really I love it. I love it because it's a place for you to really go inwards, right? And really look at ourselves and our stuff. So when I'll do a quick like 101 on how this concept works. So it came from a Swiss psychologist, Carl Jung. You may have heard of some of his work. He's very famous in like psychological concepts and how we are in relationship with others and ourselves. And he put them into amazing frameworks. So from about 0 to 7 years old, that's called our imprint age. That's the age that we, you know, sort of start to decide elements of ourselves and our identities and our personality as such. And during that age, you disown and own certain parts of yourself. Some beautiful traits that you're like, oh no, you know, I'm not a leader or whatever. And some not so beautiful traits that you're like, oh gosh, okay, do not want to be that. So I'll just put that in the wee closet. Think about it like a closet, right? This is a shadow. So you put in your unconscious mind and you create a little bit of a persona for yourself, you know, and this is your identity. So you create a persona for yourself. So you're like, you know, I'm super generous and I am, you know, always of service and I'm all these amazing things, right? And that's kind of how we build our identity. But meanwhile, in the closet, there's actually still some stuff in there that's not so pretty. A lot of personal growth is also about emptying the closet and bringing things out of the closet and really having a look at them so we can get to a place of wholeness and full acceptance of our truth and who we really are. So quick exercise on shadow, really simple way, is to think about 3 people that really annoy you. So on your piece of paper, think of 3 people that trigger you. Like they frustrate you and they, for some reason, trigger you. Yeah. You're still a good person, I promise. If anyone's like, I do not like anyone, you're still a good person. I see you, you're amazing. This is just really deep self-awareness. So we have more power in our relationships. Now think about, beside each of those people, 3 of the traits that really annoy you about them. Like the 3 things, so the 3 people, and then beside each one of them, the 3 traits that you're like, it's this, or potentially it's that. You know, selfishness, laziness, judgmental, anything like that. Gemma said hashtag confronted. Yeah, it's like we got to go layers on this one, and I'm doing it like 101. So it's good, it's perfect. Just go there. It's amazing when you go there. Yeah. 3 people, 3 traits. Oh, and you got 10. Yeah, yeah, nice. All right. I love shadow work. So good. Okay. How's everyone going? Give me thumbs up if you've got 3 people and some traits. Yeah. Have a look at the traits that you've written. Choose one that feels like quite triggering. One that you're like, oh, that one. Choose that. Circle that. Cool. So, and this is so, I just want to create as well why this work matters. Like, it matters for our relationships, but it also matters to give you some more personal freedom in your life. So I just want to give you an example and a context of when I did shadow work. So I found when I grew up, my mum was Mrs. Hustle on the move. Like she literally, the curtains were open, get out of bed, you know, we don't have a minute to waste. What are you doing? You're lazy. Like when my dad bought a PS2, she threw it over the front balcony because she was so angry because she was like, my kids aren't going to be watching that stuff. Like really go mama. And she's a superhuman. She's like my inspiration. And that's the context we grew up in. So when I was little, like 0 to 7, it was like, okay, well, do not be lazy, because being lazy, my wee brain associated being lazy is like disgusting, like terrible. And so when I grew up through my teens and stuff, I went on this crazy mission to prove myself that I am not lazy. And I became the most productive, non-stop human possible. And I put that little shadow piece, that lazy piece, in the closet. And I was like, nah, not that. That's disgusting. And I was Mrs. Productive, right? And I prided myself on being so productive. Now that became part of what's called my shadow. And then as you evolve in relationships, because we can't own a piece of ourselves, so that part of myself, I started to be triggered by laziness in others. And I was like, oh, that's so lazy, just sitting around all weekend. And here's me, you just put your robe on at 12 o'clock in the middle of the day, still in bed, like berating my poor partners or behind my, my flatmates' backs, like, and I'll admit it because I've done shadow work, but because of this part that I was projecting was on them, but it was actually a really disowned part of me. Now, when I did shadow work with my coach, she was like, you are lazy. Wow. Oh my gosh. I just let rip. My ego, this whole persona, this part of myself that I built my whole identity, was like, don't you dare. And I listed like all the reasons I'm not lazy. I've done law, I did honors, I did coaching, I did speech and drama, just literally like, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, oh, that's your shadow. And so the deeper shadow work is to reclaim these parts of ourselves. They're not pretty usually, but just to create, you also disown really amazing parts of yourself. Just want to say the concept works the other way too. Like your leadership or, your creativity or whatever, you also disown those traits. But we're looking because we want to get in the deeper stuff. So you also disown these not so pretty parts of ourselves. And we really struggle. So when you look at that trait, just bear with me here. Most of your ego and everything will be like, she's full of it. We should just get off the call now. I'm not that thing. Really sit with, can you be with that trait? Can you actually say, perhaps I am a little bit selfish? And what we're aiming to do in this process is to reintegrate this part of yourself, right? Because if you don't reintegrate everything that's in the closet bit by bit, you will project it onto others. And this is what's happening. There's a lot of projection happening in the world, especially on social media, as though it's that person or it's that person. It's us. It's always ours. If you see it, you got it. Everything that is within someone else is within us. And so the more we resolve these parts of ourselves, the more forgiveness and compassion we have, the less triggered we get. And you look like you're battling. Your ego doesn't want to own it. Bye, Maxine. What if I think I'm not it? Is that Sarah? Where are you? Sarah, is that Sarah White? Yeah. Oh, yeah, you won't think you're it, hun. No. Your ego's got no interest in owning this part of yourself. Oh, no. It's going to be like, yeah, this is the work. Can you see a time in your life that you have been it, Sarah? Huh?
It's like loudness, being really, I guess, loud and strong with voice. And I'm not sure if there is a time where I've been like that, unless it's going way back to childhood possibly. But I feel like there's been a story that stopped me doing that. Perfect.
Awesome. Good to get. So, and then what we want to look at is awesome. So really loud people probably trigger you a lot. Yeah. And that's like, we don't want to be so triggered. Being triggered is exhausting. It's like waste of emotional energy. This is what I'm interested in. I'm interested in everyone has freedom and they stop getting so triggered by everything. So, okay, cool. So loud people, they trigger you. They probably seem very obnoxious, annoying, overly rude, whatever. Awesome. And what would it mean to you if you could just reclaim this part of yourself?
It would give me more strength in my voice.
Amazing.
Boom.
That is why we do shadow work. Because right now, you've built an identity based on your ego that's got you here. and it's not going to get you there.
Yeah.
So it's time to reintegrate this part of yourself, this bold, loud, maybe a little bit obnoxious sometimes, no, so that you can truly step into the person that you want to be and the impact you want to make. Yeah. And I know what that is. So it's like that is why we do the shadow. Yeah. All right. I'm just going to let you sit with that. I know I feel like something's sitting in there. Yeah. Anne, are you saying, yes, Bianca, I can send through a shadow work resource for sure. Conscious of time, so I'll answer some questions, and this is something to sit with as well. I'm giving you 101. This is a pretty intense concept. There's a lot of people in the personal growth world who still don't want to do this, but you know, I just feel like the caliber of people on the school are just so okay to go there. And I think it just sets us free and brings us so much more compassion. And everything we're triggered about is likely a shadow. Yep, usually. Yep. So that's us out there, right? Also, if you've ever experienced jealousy, like you see someone on Instagram and you're like, them, that person, it's just probably a shadow, just because you're probably not doing it, or they've activated a part of themselves that you haven't activated yet. That's really what that's going on there, right? So the integration of shadow is all about like bringing it back, making it whole, so you've got some freedom and you don't get so triggered anymore, because you're like, yeah, I can see when I've done that. Yeah. And then you're freed up in those relationships. Yeah. What about things like dishonesty? I don't want to start being dishonest. Yeah. So it's to be honest, if the trait serves you, you integrate it. Like for some people, they're so selfless and they've built their whole identity on being of service, and then they burn out. And really, for shadow, it's really important. Yeah, some people putting their hands up. So we've built this, and it was me too. That's why I'm sharing it. We've built this whole identity of being selfless, and we just give and we give and we give. And then eventually it's like, actually, you know what? I need to reintegrate a little bit of my selfishness, and I need to not feel bad about that. And I need to know that that's actually going to serve me. Yeah. So there are certain traits that it's just so important for us to reintegrate, so that we can keep moving forward and become the person we want to do and make the impact, right? And it's all about compassion. It's all about full self-acceptance. It's all about the gnarly things that you did in the past, or whatever, just bringing them into the light, reintegrating them, so you can actually move forwards, yeah? And then you get this really, what I love, my idea of personal growth is that an event happens, and you're not stuck in this fixed way of being of like, well, I have to be selfless. You can actually be like, you know, Heather can be like, you know what? Today, I'm going to be selfish. And I'm totally okay with that, because I've done my shadow work. Like that is freedom, you know? So yeah, that's what I'm interested in. What if it's something quite complex, like people not holding themselves accountable? Yeah, I think that's a good one. That may be avoiding responsibility, if you wanted to think of it another way. Like, to not hold yourself accountable is kind of to avoid responsibility. And that's such a good one to look at, by the way, for anyone who's ever it's so good to just go inwards and go, well, where am I avoiding responsibility? Often if you're attracting things in your life, have you guys ever had that experience where you just keep getting the same sort of people, or like you keep getting the same relationships and you're like, why do you keep sending me these types of people? That's actually your shadow. Your unconscious mind will just keep attracting those people until you resolve it. Yeah. Your unconscious is always just like, hey, let's just resolve everything, right? And so it just brings in these people. I believe in the quote, a season, a reason, or a lifetime, and that everyone that comes into your life is truly there for a lesson and an insight. And if you keep attracting those people, go inwards and go, okay, what is it within me that I need to resolve? Yeah. This is the reason this work is so powerful, is because it's actually completely irrelevant of anyone outside of you. This gives you 100% of the power and radical responsibility. Reintegration looks like, there's a question, what does reintegration look like? It looks like full acceptance of it. Yeah. So whatever that trait is in front of you, I am selfish. Say it in the mirror. You're okay. I promise you won't turn into a selfish, horrible person. You just never will. You've built your whole identity on being selfless, but you will get some freedom. I am lazy. I used to almost like have a gag reflex when I used to have to say it. I was like, I am lazy. I am not lazy. I am lazy. I'm lazy. And now I can relax. and be a human instead of a superhuman. It's given me so much freedom. Okay, really trying to be open-minded. How does that work? Is that the shadow trait, or trying to accept more? Conscious of the time. Tegan, is that you trying to be open-minded?
Yeah, so that was part of my comment getting broken up by my typing.
Yeah.
My comment was, I find it difficult dealing with people who aren't open-minded or who have closed-minded patterns, but I really try and make myself open-minded and reserve judgment.
Beautiful.
So how does that sort of situation relate to this concept?
Yep, cool, amazing. Yeah, awesome. So, and I know, like, the one thing, and that's such a good thing to say, is like the more the more integration, the more work you do on yourself, the more becoming aware and personal growth, you actually, you know, you will reach really high levels of awareness and compassion. And it can be super triggering when other people aren't exactly in the same space, right? But we actually, you know, you have a responsibility, to be honest. Once you've got that level of awareness, you've got a responsibility to really take a stand for that and to really lead with compassion and perhaps get others to look, you know. But for me, transparently, like, that shadow work piece is like, I can actually, a mantra I fully believe in is that everyone is doing the best they can with what they have. Now, you don't have to adopt that mantra, but I choose to believe that. People hurt people. When people go out to bully or be nasty or anything like that, it's because it's coming from that level of awareness for them, and that's their level of awareness, and, you know, they're projecting their insecurities. And I just have so much compassion for those people. I'm sorry that that's your experience. I genuinely feel an element of sadness for people that don't have that level of awareness, you know. Hurt people. Do you have to hang out with them all day? No, not at all. Do you have to open yourself up to that? No, but in some elements you will have to lead it and work with it.
Okay.
Bring your tools is basically what I'd say, Tegan. I feel like you have lots of tools to help these people with, you know.
Yeah, I think so.
And you know, make no assumptions. Everyone's doing the best they can with what they have. Usually when you dig a bit deeper, you actually discover people are dealing with a lot. Everyone on this call is dealing with something pretty big in their life. We know that. No human gets through the human experience without challenges. So I personally practice compassion. I'm like, okay, I got it. And potential. It doesn't mean I let people cross boundaries and things, but I got it. People are dealing with stuff and they don't have tools, you know. And this looks, to be honest, this looks when you reflect on your life and your childhood and your parents. A lot of people blame their parents. It's like, yeah, and they were doing the best they could with what they had too, you know. So yeah, I think it's a hard pill to swallow, because we want everyone else to take radical responsibility for their stuff and do the work. Often when you get into personal growth, you're just like, everyone must do it. You know, my friends must do it, my partner must do it. It's like, actually, you know, everyone's on their own journey. And like we've seen tonight, if you go inwards, you will have so much more power and responsibility when you do your own work. Start with you first. Clean up your own home, you know, your internal home. And that'll be the quickest way to influence others. We can't really change others. It's kind of a false perception. So yeah, okay, just going to check parents thing. Yeah, super hard to accept. Yep, parents are a big one. Forgive them, doing the best they could with what they had, telling us we were lazy all those years, giving me shadows. It's all good. It's all here for us. You'll never be sent something that you're not ready for. Yeah, trust your spirit. Okay, conscious of our time. How are we going? I'll give a quick opportunity for questions. Anyone got any questions on that?
I'm going to unmute for a sec and say that this is mind-blowing. I've also got a lot of DMs coming straight to me saying, holy shit. So I'm almost wondering, is there a follow-up workshop that we might do, and go a little bit deeper into some of the things that have really caught on, integration. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just really mindful that we've got till 6:15 together, and that some people have to dash off to other things. So
Yeah.
is that something you'd be open to, Briony, or what do you think? Everyone on the
Yeah.
you'd be down to do?
If you guys, if you guys want that, and you're you've got lots from the call, and often this work, it's not easy. It's quite introspective. There's a lot of big questions. The ego doesn't really want to look that hard, and there's lots of stuff. So yeah, I love the concept of where else you can go, and working through stuff together, and integration when we're saying that language. And I need to be conscious of using terms that maybe don't resonate for everyone. So integration is when we take a concept like the critic and the creator, and shadow, and we actually look at how we then apply it, right? We go away, and then we have a go at some things. And that's probably where I provide the most value for people in coaching, is when you go away and you try some stuff, and you have some conversations, and you do some reflection, and then you kind of come back with even more insights. That's so powerful. That is what we're talking about when we say integration, is like, learn a concept. Don't just learn a concept like you learn on a podcast and then never use it. It's really about take a concept, critical creator, or the shadow piece about, everything within me is within others, and really looking inwards, and then go out in the world, see what else you see differently. I promise you will. You'll see things, and you'll be like, oh, wow, maybe that's that. You won't catch it every time, but you will see different things. And then when you come back, there's new insights, new conversations, new actions, and that's like so powerful as well. Yeah, for sure.
So good. Thank you so much, Briony.
Oh, good.
And I think we might leave it there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for bringing so much wisdom, golden nuggets, knowledge bombs. Just like, this thing's just been levels of like, and then celebrating the wins and hearing the stories as well. Thank you, everyone who was bold to share their truth, and whether that was leaving a comment or jumping on and sharing what this has meant for you. So this is our first online workshop, and we're not sure what's going to come up next for Seed. So it's great to hear that this has been something that's really resonated for people. We're going to send out a little survey, and you'll win a prize if you do it. It's not a boring one.
Yes.
It would be really cool if you could share just what this has meant for you, and perhaps help us understand what you'd like us to do in the future, especially in this new time, this new age. Massive mahi to you, Briony. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up for our community. Thank you for sharing all your wisdom, and thank you to each and every one of you for prioritizing growing your self-awareness and understanding how you can really develop your potential to be of service to our world. All right, as I mentioned at the start, I've recorded the session. If you're not comfortable with me sharing this online afterwards, could you please email me, and I won't share it. If anyone is uncomfortable with that, that's fine. And we'll leave it there. Ka kite, and have an amazing night.
Thanks, everyone. See ya. Thank you. Bye.